Yo, what's going on, guys? Bill here, Classic Rock and Metal Review. That's right, it's time for another version of the best hour of your month. Black Sabbath update. I love it. I really get stoked about doing this episode because, well, you can guess why. Sabbath rules, that's why. And, you know, for all you guys who wake up, the first thing you ask yourself in the morning is, when am I going to hear some fucking Black Sabbath? Welcome to this update. Now, I'm not going to be playing music, but you get my drift. An hour or so, I'm just guessing at the stuff I have stacked up here to talk about. I'm guessing an hour, all the latest Sabbath talk. So, all the latest news on Sabbath and Ozzy, of course. Latest official releases and merchandise news and a bootleg update. All right, some new stuff, some back in print, little mix of each. I think it's 10 or 12 titles to tell you about it in that area. Even more interesting, though, you get to hear about all the crazy Black Sabbath related shit that goes through my brain. Typical month or two. I think it's been 2 months, right? This stuff's stacking up. I already have several ideas for the next update because I have to get this done, you know, it's at some point. So I have to just put off some of the things that have been going on the last few days until the next update. So I might do one again next month rather than waiting 2 months. Give you my opinion on Sabbath and AI. All right, can go either way. We'll talk a little bit about some stuff that's popped up. 40th anniversary of my first concert ever happened in January, and I, mentioned it in March. That would be Philly, January 16th of '84. Just happens to be on Bootleg. This only came out a few years ago. Kind of cool audience tape, but for nostalgia's sake, I grabbed it. And it sounds okay, not horrible, not great, but I really just want to encapsulate that one more time. Send you a link to a whole show I did on that concert. A lot of links that I have to remember to leave throughout the rest of this show, so you guys can see what I was talking about in the first place. And finally, do you own a Mob Rules coffee maker? You probably do, all right? Now, I can't attest to everyone's coffee maker, but I have a feeling you do. We'll get to that in a second. So, finally, of course, part 2 of Mandatory Boots. This is for Chris Allo. He rules. He's my favorite dude on... It's really just ironic. He's like the only one noteworthy that comments on this show, and he's my favorite dude of all the half dozen shows I watch. So we'll cover part 2 of Mandatory Sabbath bootlegs that y'all need to get. Now, I already covered the original Ozzy era, 1969 to 1978, 9 different shows that you need. That was fun. I gave some bootleg alternatives to some shows that I thought were better, but actually 5 out of 9 of those shows have been officially released, one form or another. So today, only 2 out of 10 shows have been sanctioned by official releases. So today you're really going to get 8 boots and 2 rarities, covering 80 to 82. So I'll be showing you some new stuff I got along the way, actually, too, during the new release segment, during the mandatory boot segment, too. I got stuff to show you that apply to each of those sort of segments. So let's kick some things off. I'm going to kick myself off with a second cup of coffee. Now, I rarely do this, man. I get a little nuts with too much caffeine in my system. It doesn't matter if I drink water, eat breakfast, I just can't handle second cup, but I'm going for it today. And it's from my E5 150 Keurig. I was thinking maybe it was the dark. It's not. It is from E5 150. All right. For years now, I've been starting my day with that Keurig. And actually, that's our second Keurig. The first one did the same exact thing. I don't take my coffee black, but I'm getting it black anyway, every day. I mean, is it me, or does that sounds like part of E5 150? Is that where they got that from? I guess not. It was back in '81. But damn if that doesn't sound like it. Here's the next cup of coffee I had the next day. See? I'm telling you, it's E5. All right, I just thought I'd throw that in there. Every morning I hear that sound and I think of E5 150, and where else am I going to share it if I don't share that here? All right, AI bullshit / AI. All right, I'm not totally against it, as you'll see in the Bootleg update coming up. AI can be bullshit, let's put it that way. A newly found version of 1969 demo, When I Came Down. There's no Iommi riff going on during the song, which is kind of like the main part of the song to me. Much less interesting, really almost boring, honestly. And I like that song a lot. Is it really a newfound take? You know, I mean, I just find it pretty sus that suddenly in 2024, new alternate takes of a one-off demo from 1969 are being discovered, you know. So I call bullshit on that one, at least on that one When I Came Down. Now, a new version of The Rebel has also popped up. Now, this one sounds great. There's an organ, I guess it was there all along. I kind of barely remember hearing it before. Higher in the mix, and it really sounds good. I got to tell you, it's not playing the whole time, but it is there for sure. Being touted as take 18 of The Rebel. I mean, really, is it possible they did 20-some takes of The Rebel? This one-off demo. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but it really just sounds like it's been remixed, and it really does sound killer. So I doubt it's take 18. It sounds pretty much like the same version we've always had, but it does sound a lot better. So maybe that's AI in use. I don't even know, but I'm just going to say that there's some shit popping up online, you know. They're new takes, they're alternate takes. I ain't buying it. What I might be buying is the next thing in the news. Now, beginning of the year, earlier this year, 2024, Iommi came out saying that the Black Sabbath Ballet might be doing a tour, might be doing some dates outside of the UK, headed to the US and headed elsewhere in Europe, and now we've got some dates. Tickets for the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Germany for shows of June of this year, next month, on sale now. Thus far, the only U.S. city announced is the Kennedy Center, Washington, D.C., but that's not until June 4th through the 8th of 2025. These shows are Wednesday through Sunday. There's 2 shows on Thursday. There's 2 shows on Saturday. No word on the possibility of other cities for this Black Sabbath Ballet. And so I've mentioned this before. I'm totally down with this. If it's the only U.S. city listed when it goes on sale, I'm probably going to get tickets, just in case it ends up being the only city. Now, just kicked off, like I said, that rock road trips. This would be something really cool to go do. So hopefully by June of 2025, it'll be episode 4 of Rock Road Trips, but we'll just have to see how it goes. All right, next up, my own version of Born Again. I've talked about this a couple different times. I just listened to it a few weeks ago. That's what makes me mention it again. So first time in a while. I'll leave a link for that. Guys, just have an open mind and check out this version of Born Again. You know, I got this idea off somebody online who did their own version of Sabotage. I didn't necessarily like it, but it got me thinking about doing my own version of Born Again, just because I feel like it was always a sort of peak and valley running order, for one thing. I ended up ditching Keep It Warm. I know, blasphemy, but I did it anyway. Brought in a couple of those deluxe edition bonus tracks, filled it all up. But mostly what I really like, and also, by the way, I used some versions from the legendary masters, the Manor tape. 3 versions from that. Off of that guy. Why? Less keyboards, heavier, sounds better. A couple of those songs, that was my problem with them. I just didn't like how poppy they sort of sounded. I think I grabbed Trashed, Digital Bitch, and Born Again. That sounds a little better too. I think I used 3 songs from the Vertigo original album. So it's not about alternate versions. It's about making the best version of the album. So I think I used 3 or 4 versions off of the regular album. And I do think the original Vertigo sounds better even than the deluxe edition. And I did snag The Fallen. That's on there now. And used the Long Stonehenge to start the album. So what I like about it is I sort of bookended the whole thing with 2 mellower songs. Long Stonehenge to start it, Disturbing the Priest to start the album after Stonehenge, which was an idea I got off Facebook. Somebody said that they wished that album had started with the heaviest thing on the record. And I always thought, wow, that's a great idea. So that's kind of what I did. I did stick Stonehenge in front of it. And then I have the title track ending the album, as it should. Why is the title track the 7th song or something like that? Middle of an album. Mini little epic. Title track. So the album's kind of bookended by the 2 mellower songs, Stonehenge and Born Again. In between, though, there's no more peaks and valleys. You got, Disturbing the Priest, right on in the Hotline, right on in the Digital Bitch, the heavier version from the Manor tape. You get my drift. It's better. One of you has even commented, you're right, it's better. That's right, because it is. So some of you know what you're talking about. Check it out. I'm going to leave a link to the playlist. Now, the playlist isn't something I put up there. I just snagged other people's postings of the songs. But I did listen to it a few weeks ago. It's still up there and it's complete. You know how some of these things disappear. That one's still all intact last I checked. So check out Classic Rock and Metal Reviews version of Born Again. So anyway, that got me thinking. I mean, guys, I was up till 2:30 in the morning working on this the other night. And then woke up and spent another hour and a half on it, trying to make my own version of Bark at the Moon. My own version of Born Again is the only album I ever spent the time to do that for. Something I thought I could improve. Talk about something that needs improvement. This is a really good album. I like it. I got some sentimental value with it, I guess. I was super into Ozzy when this came out, probably at my peak. But let's face it, it wasn't great. It was a letdown versus first 2 albums and all that stuff. So, and yeah, I got this Joker version of it. I need to get a real version of it. But next Sabbath update, I deconstruct this thing, put it back together. Again, utilizing, I had all these outtakes. All right, we talked about these before, I think last summer. And then a little more recently, broke down the rough mix. Rough mix has better sound. So I actually ended up using, I think, 4 songs from the rough mix, 3 songs from the regular album, although I'm not going to finalize this until I get myself a legit original CBS copy of this. Plug in there. By all accounts, that's the best sounding version. I did utilize Spiders and one up the B-side to improve on that one. And couldn't really take nothing off the outtakes. There were a couple possibilities, but the sound overall on this is actually a hair under the rough mix, which is pretty much equal to the regular album, actually. But this one, a little bit notice of a drop off, so the overall volume's a little lower and stuff. But definitely didn't need any performances on here, as interesting as they may be. They leave out some key parts and key little riffs and stuff, some of these, outtakes. So it's basically utilizing the 2 B-sides, I think 4 songs from the regular album, and 3 versions from the rough mix to make the best. Also change the running order. The best version of Dark Side of the Moon. Best version of Bark at the Moon. We'll go over that next Sabbath update. That was really fun, man. I can't believe how good that came out. I've actually ripped the CD out of my iTunes of what I put together, driving around with it yesterday, listened to the whole thing. Actually got home and later on that day played the whole thing again on my stereo in the living room. I'm loving Bark at the Moon. Bark Side of the Moon. It's really, really good. I'm surprised because when I was putting that thing together, I'm like, there's no help in this thing. There's just too many weak spots on this album. I figured it out, I mean, it could be a little better, but anyway, you'll see it came out great. Next Sabbath update, give you my version of Bark at the Moon. But also I'll leave a link for my version of Born Again. Check it out. See what I mean. It's spend a lot of time doing that stuff, and it's worth it at the end. So, all right. So, merchandise for the 50th anniversary of Cal Jam. One official shirt. It was pretty cool. It was only a limited time pre-order. I think it was 4 days you had a chance to order this thing. And they announced it on April 6th. So it came and it went, but I thought we'd just talk about it a little bit. And 50 years to the day. That was kind of cool. They released it like that. So it's no longer on the site for you to order it, but genuine limited edition, I guess you could say. And what do you guys think of it? I think it's okay. I don't think it's awesome. Kind of over the whole black shirt thing. 80-90% of my rock concert shirts, they're black, you know. So for the last like 10 or 15 years, I don't even try to, I kind of turn away when I see that they're black, man. All this black stuff, you know. So I try to go for other colors when I'm buying shirts and stuff. Now their new spring collection actually has a little bit of color to it. We'll talk about that stuff later. But back to this Cal Jam shirt. I like that the dates on there, the use of the sun ray design kind of borrowed from the official Cal Jam logo. The Gibson, having that on there is pretty cool. But like I said, I really would have preferred something with some colors to it and just on white, you know. Why not put it on a white shirt? I mean, you know, what are your images of Cal Jam? For me, it's that it's a daytime gig, that huge rainbow over top of them. I just don't think dark and menacing when I think about Cal Jam, you know, as far as the imagery anyway. So it's kind of dated, but you know, it doesn't really say Cal Jam anywhere on it. So I guess it just wasn't sanctioned by California Jam people, whoever's got patent on that logo and so forth. So let's just assume that. But I just think it's okay to me, you know, a pass. Some people really like it. I don't think it's all that. And also, I don't know, how would you not have the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath logo on there? You know, the logo that should have been utilized, since that was their logo at the time, you know. So I don't think it's a great design. It's cool that the gig was acknowledged by the band in some official way like this. I'll say that much. But, you know, they sounded phenomenal there, I have to tell you. And I think that they hadn't played in like 5 weeks when that show went on. So cool that they acknowledged the whole thing, but I'm not in love with that shirt. When I first saw a Cal Jam shirt, clicked on the link, I was ready to like buy it, but not really the way it came out. So, but some cool merch did come out the other day. We'll talk about that a little later. So, some Ozzy news. Let me just start out with the Ozzy news. I just wanted to mention or sort of re-acknowledge the January 16th that just passed. It was the 40th anniversary of my first concert, and was going to do a whole little segment on it, but you know what? I already covered the whole damn thing a few years ago. So, how I ended up going, the show itself, in really great detail, and it's a pretty cool show actually. So another link that I'll leave you was to this episode 1 of I Was There, which I haven't done that in a while. I really should get back to trying to do that. So, as told by my dorky or twin, all right? Yes, that's me. Yes, I still stand by every damn word in that episode, because man, it was fun getting that stuff off my chest. It's been swirling around in my head forever. But I'm talking specifically about the whole Tommy Lee Airborne solo. Yes, they were an opening act. Yes, it was January of '84. And I'm sorry for shattering your version of when Tommy Lee started that stuff. But I think 85 is the widely reported thing. Now, I have to admit, I have spent hours, I'm talking like 5 or 6 hours, maybe even more, looking online for a single picture as evidence. Video, good luck there, you know. Articles, you know, a review, something. I'm talking, I've spent so much time trying to find some solid proof to back myself up here. It's almost pathetic how little you find about the shows themselves. Every search, try it yourself. Go right ahead, man. Type in Ozzy Motley Crue 1984 tour. Try finding a review of the concert, all right? All you're going to find out is about how many ants Ozzy snorted, peeing, poop on the walls, cocaine, all right? That's all there is out there. It's almost like they didn't play any concerts. They just toured hotels. It's really kind of crazy, you know. Many comments left disputing my version of it, which is fine, you know. A lot of them saying you're thinking about 1985, you're thinking of the following tour, guys, or you know, you just lost credibility. I'm unsubscribing. You're full shit. I kind of get what you're saying in the first place, but my reply to that, what kind of credibility does someone have when they see something with their own 2 eyes and then don't tell it because it goes against popular opinion? So there's that, all right? So The story's never going to change. The details I tell you in this episode, the same thing I was telling people January 17th, 1984. All right? No one started disputing anything I was saying until a few years ago, honestly. So, 13, stone cold sober, completely mesmerized by everything, you know. Lee's solo, Tommy Lee's solo was probably the highlight of the whole night, though, you know. I have no idea why it was just that show, however many shows. There was someone else who said they saw him on that tour do that again. Drums up in the air solo, you know. Was it just some primitive sort of trial run? I don't really know. How do I know? You know, I can't explain it, but until I posted this video, nobody ever questioned it. I can tell you this much. January 17th, the next day, my best buddy Rick, who lived next door, we were like brothers, all right? Even though he's lived somewhere else 30 years now. Anyway, we spent every day together hanging out, listening to music. The next day, because I got home so late I couldn't talk to him that day. It was like midnight or after. The next day, after school, because I'm still finishing middle school, he's in high school, so he comes right over. We spent like 45 minutes in my foyer. It was like, get in here, I got to tell you all about this show. Eventually my mom's like, are you guys coming out of the foyer? I couldn't wait to tell him. So we sat in that foyer for a good half hour. Anyway, I'll leave a link to this sort of retro review I did of that concert. Truly life-changing night. Wasted, Motley Crue, and Ozzy Osbourne. Other Ozzy news, as far as the farewell gigs, they are pre-planned to happen in his hometown, Aston, Birmingham, UK. Looking at doing 2 shows, Aston Villa Park. I think that park holds around 40 or 44,000 somewhere in there for concerts. No new information about that at all. Scouring the internet looking for that. That would be a killer rock road trip, you know, or air trip. But I don't think that one's going to happen for me anyway. But there's some other Ozzy news. Ozzy and Billy Idol guitarist Billy Morrison co-hosting a show called The Madhouse Chronicles. Part talk show, part internet sort of video reaction show. Not on cable or anything that I can tell as of yet, just sort of Ozzy podcast situation. Debuted in April. Haven't seen it yet myself, but that's floating out there. Perfect segue into the new release update. We'll cover some bootlegs, but first, the legit stuff. Ozzy and Billy Morrison again, along with Steve Stevens, former but Billy Idol guitarist, released a single, Crack Cocaine. Pretty decent song, and the video is kind of cool too, if you want to hear some new Ozzy. It's streaming for download, of course, multiple services, but there's also 12-inch vinyl out there. Not seeing any CD yet, just 12-inch vinyl or the downloads for that one. Crack Cocaine. And of course, forthcoming from Sabbath, Anno Domini, the 4-album or 4-CD Tony Martin era box set, covers 1989, 1995. I think that's supposed to come out May 30th. Headless Cross, Tear, Cross Purposes, and Forbidden. Forbidden is a remix. There are 3 bonus tracks on the CDs as compared to the original US releases, but I think some of these bonus tracks have been out there before on European or Japanese releases. However, US side of things, they're going to be considered bonuses. And Tony Iommi is the one who remixed Forbidden himself. So, guys, let's talk about this one for a few minutes. FYI, Anno Domini, Latin for in the year of our Lord. Am I missing anything with this, guys? Not a great name, in my opinion, right off the bat. And furthermore, is it my damn imagination, or didn't this talk of Tony Martin reissues start in the middle of all those super deluxe editions we were getting for Sabbath? I could have swore these were supposed to be deluxe editions of these albums coming out. So I kind of find this to be almost like bullshit. There's really nothing new here at all. Remix of Forbidden, I guess, if you think that's something worth having. And the bonus tracks, I guess, if they've been elusive. So, you know, I just remember, I thought these were supposed to be deluxe editions. Now, I hear a lot of people talking about this box set, not happy with it, reasons I just stated. I don't hear anyone else saying that, why aren't these deluxe editions? Isn't that what this whole point was when this topic first came up? 2, 3, 4 years ago now. It was when we were talking and reviewing these various deluxe 4 CD box sets from Sabbath. Not just throwing these albums out together like this. This is not a box set, even if you want to call it that. To me, this is just an album collection. Now, I wasn't expecting like 4 CD box sets for the Martin era albums, but I think like a 2 CD version, like this, Eternal Idol, I think that would have been a reasonable thing. I would have rather just waited and got, 4 of these, even if they took a year or two to get each one of them out. There are definitely the shows out there to be able to put some live stuff on disc 2. Maybe remix the albums. Who even cares if you do? But put the regular album in a bonus track on side 1. Throw some live stuff on side 2. I don't think that would have been too unreasonable of an expectation there. And it's kind of a long wait for nothing new. But on the cool side, being out of print forever, separately these CDs used start around $20, $30 each. So it's going to cost you $100 to get the 4 of them or more in jewel cases though. So that would have been the flip side of this, Do I just save my money and get a couple of these old ones in jewel cases? I just can't stand digipacks and 4 CDs inside a box kind of thing. But however, 4 CDs for $50, $60, because I saw them for $48 for a hot minute there, pre-order on Amazon. Still kind of worth it. I'm going to go for this only because I don't have any of these albums. Eternal Idol's the only Tony Martin album I have. So, totally worth it for someone like me. Now, will I be buying this? Yes, but I got to tell you, mark my words, read my lips. This price will drop to under $30. Probably by the next time we do one of these Sabbath updates. All right, I think we're looking at $28. Guys, just follow the pattern. Do you need this thing the day it comes out? Live Evil, Super Deluxe, Sabotage, they all end up around $28. You just have to wait a couple months. They're going to drop. You're crazy to pay $50 or $60 in my eyes for something that's going to be under $30. So that's what I'm going to wait for. I don't need this stuff that urgently. On the bootleg front, 11 titles from 1980 to 2005, 6 Ozzy titles from the early 80s, and 5 Sabbath titles. So let's start out with Ozzy. Mayfair Ballroom, 1980 on Zodiac. Newcastle, UK, October 17th specifically. It's an audience recording. Now I know someone with it. Good to very good sound, he says. 66 minutes, almost complete show. I think some of the guitar solos cut on that one. It is a silver press, as always, from Zodiac. Another Ozzy, this one from 1981 at the Palladium, New York City. First show, Zodiac again, New York City on May 2nd, 1981. Another audience recording. This one I think is a second press. Ozzy Definitive Tribute, second press. On Zodiac, once again, Cleveland, May 11th, well-known show from 1981. Also Montreal, Quebec, July 28th, 1981. Both versions of that are on this disc. The Best of the Biscuit, 9 songs, and the 2 solos, which aired in 82. The original King Biscuit Flower Hour, broadcast from 81, that was only 6 songs. Bonus DVD-R option with this one, depending on where you're buying. Randy Rhoads' 6-String God covers 78 to 81 compilation. After Hours, MTV, some Palladium footage for 3 songs, I believe, and some Quiet Riot stuff from 78 to 79. Got to pick that up, what, extra $4 or $5 if it has to be, of course. I have something similar to that, actually has more material on it, as far as Randy Rhoads' video comp. Here's a goofy little title. Originally came out in 96, but I never saw it before, so I thought I'd throw it in there. And it's on the Neptune label called Crazy Rose. Now listen to this description right from the back of the disc. It is a live recording on July 1981. 8 songs, no further info about this one that I could detect. Completist title only, I guess, is what I'm saying. But I'm just going to assume it's maybe partially from the Cleveland and Montreal gig. Who even knows? Just thought I'd throw it out there. Here's a cool one, and it's for vinyl heads. Ozzy, Broken Chains and Broken Rules, double vinyl. This is for a show that's pretty elusive to find in any kind of physical format. Soundboard show, Bloomington, Minnesota, January 15th, 1982. With Randy Rhoads, of course. Casino Records is who's putting this out. Now they have 150 copies of either the yellow or red vinyl, numbered. The show doesn't have awesome sound quality, although it is soundboard. Source tape issues, there's a little hiss here and there, kind of comes and goes. Some tape warble issues. A little distorted, but overall, despite all that stuff, it's pretty listenable. You can listen to it on YouTube, but here's a format for you, vinyl, which is pretty awesome. This one, all these things, how to buy them, give you the same advice I always give you. Basically, just Google the title, and if I'm affixing a label to it, put that in your search, narrow stuff down for you. Now this vinyl title looks cool. You know I'm not a big vinyl guy, but this is a show I don't even have, all right? And, you know, the CD copy included would have been cool. I've bought some vinyl in the past because they include a CD copy, so that would have been a nice touch for this one. But nevertheless, Bloomington, elusive 1982 soundboard show here on the vinyl bootleg. Ozzy Memorial, this is no label, silver press of the Kalamazoo show, Wing Stadium in Michigan from February 9th of 82. Last known of the 4 Randy Rhoads soundboards. Zodiac has their own version of this, and cooler artwork, I think. Can't get wrong with Zodiac, but just mention it, and then here's another option out there. On to some Black Sabbath, all right? The Eternal Idol featuring Ray Gillen, another Zodiac product. Graf Zeppelin remaster on this one, soundboard quality. 8 demos, I believe them to be the same 8 demos that we get on the Eternal Idol Deluxe Edition, although remastered. So hopefully better sound on them. 4 more demos with Gillen, live vocals on those. And most interestingly, this is an instance where AI can bring something to the table. A duet version of The Shining, mixing Ray Gillen and Tony Martin's vocals together. I haven't heard this yet. This sounds pretty cool. I'd like to at least hear it. Not claiming that it's a new version found from 1987, you know what I mean? They're just coming right out and saying that it's a mix of their own. So, not that it's claiming to be AI versus a standard mix or what have you. I don't know how it was done. The CD just states that it's a duet version of the song. So, Forbidden Rough Mix. This is on Shades. It's a CDR. Dates back originally to a 2002 European release, which originally had 11 songs. There's a bonus track on this one, an extra version of Kiss of Death. The source is a cassette. I guess we'll just presume it's another one of Cozy Powell's tapes. And actually, guys, here it is. I guess this box set fever is rubbing off on me a little bit. I don't even own Forbidden, and I went and got Forbidden Rough Mix. So I actually kind of like this thing. I mean, you know, it's pretty good. Some of it can be a little bit of a, you know, sort of train wreck, I guess you'd call it, where it's just, you can't turn away or you can't stop listening, even though it's not great, all right, what you're actually hearing. It's just different than anything I've really heard from them before stylistically. And, you know, it's hit and miss a little bit, but overall, I kind of like it. What's kind of cool here is, now I've only heard a couple of these songs before, ever. Honestly, most of this was pretty new to me. Although I had some of them I just got not too long ago, that Chicago 95 bootleg. But Get a Grip's awesome. I really like that song. I always kind of liked that. I heard that years ago on YouTube. I heard the original Illusion of Power. All right, I kind of remember the rapping and all that stuff, but that's been years. This version without the rap vocal. So I actually like that song. I really like that one too, man. Now, Forbidden, that's a pretty damn good song too. Now, there's some other stuff on here I don't love. Rusty Angels, it's okay, what have you. But overall, not too bad. You know, I'm kind of glad I'm getting that regular AM eventually. But this is kind of cool to have. Now, the guitar tone on here, really fuzzy. And I kind of like fuzzy guitar sound, but it's the same exact guitar sound the whole album. And in spots, it can get a little much. It's almost like it's a little distorted, but in a fuzzy way. It doesn't sound like Tony's usual tone at all, but it's kind of interesting. That's what makes bootlegs interesting, you know, different takes on certain things. So that one, like I said, on Shades, came out again a month or two ago, and I probably normally wouldn't have went for that, but the box set's got me in that frame of mind. So, but I'm glad I got it. Cool little pickup. So continuing along those lines, another one that I grabbed. 1995 DVD-R. Pro shot, I think it runs about 56 minutes altogether. No label on this one. This is an RZ pickup. Under 10 bucks, 10 bucks, 7 bucks, something like that. All right. TV special, it says there. So we'll talk about that in a sec. There's a little look at the tray card, action. It's the band basically hosting a Headbangers Ball-like show over in Europe. You see the band introducing stuff and also being interviewed themselves, 1995. Also live footage, very good to excellent quality on that stuff. Live version of Mob Rules, War Pigs, and the song Black Sabbath. So that's kind of cool just for those 3 songs alone. The Headbangers Ball over in New York, you get a couple more new live songs. The Wizard and some of Get a Grip and more interviews like I was saying up on that rooftop. So overall it's a really cool watch. The one thing I would say that really kind of leaves you scratching your head a little bit, when the band's introducing those videos, the videos are Get a Grip. It's on for a few seconds, it gets chopped, you know. Other bands doing Sabbath songs, which I think just the year before there was a tribute album, right? Nativity in Black. So it's Planet Caravan by Pantera, that gets cut. Someone else I think doing Lord of this World maybe. It would have been great if they would have left that stuff on there so you can watch the videos too. Make this thing more like 70, 75 minutes. Not complaining with what's here, it's pretty cool. But it really could have been better with, I think, source material they already had. They decided to edit out, you know. So that is a good one for under 10 bucks, DVD-R. Next up, Sabbath. Sabbath, Finally Sabbath, LA Forum. Soundboard show. Shout to the Tops, the label. It's a single CD, so not the full show, I guess. Originally released in 2000. The gig is from January 6, 1999. Los Angeles. So this will be a cool one to pick up. I don't think I have any bootleg 90s material with Sabbath, you know, so other than that 95 Chicago show and Dehumanizer tour, but nothing with the reunions, I should say. Lastly, another DVD from Sabbath. This one, a DVD-R, no label, Rockwave Festival 2005, live at Tel Aviv, Athens, Greece. This is from June 25th, 2005. Pro shot, 91 minutes, and really cool looking product. I love this cover and all. I haven't seen this one yet though. Nice full show. And you know, I'll tell you, man, I saw the reunion tour twice. Well, actually 3 times. 99 with Ozzy. Great. The Master of Reality 2 tour, as I call it. 2003, I was at the gig in Camden where Halford had to fill in for Ozzy. And then caught them in 2005, Ozfest. And I'll tell you, man, I have a tough time picking between the 99 show and the 2005 show. That was great too, man. They were all great, but I don't know. I think the 99 tour gets a lot of props, being their first year back or whatever. But I really kind of thought 05 was just as good. You got a couple songs on here that were new to the set list, and the set list is getting fatter, by the way, longer. The Wizard, for one, and Sleeping Village was just amazing. And the stage set was really cool. These big cauldrons of fire on either side above Bill. That was just great. This is a nice 91-minute show here with the original 4 members plus Jeff Nichols. No offense to all the other keyboards that have been there along the way the last few years, but I'll take Jeff Nichols when I can get him. I can't wait to check this one out. And that's it. There's your 11 bootleg releases from Sabbath. Like I said earlier, if you're interested in any of these titles, just search the exact title the way I just said it. For instance, Black Sabbath, Rockwave Festival, DVD. That one has no label, so that would be the end of your search. But look for that cover that I just showed you. All these covers I show you, the real deal. I don't know what you're getting on Etsy and eBay, all right? I can vouch for the things that I'm telling you, especially when you hear the word Zodiac, Shades. Those labels do the cool, legit stuff from Japan. The new merchandise, this just came out the other day. Spring collection, they're calling it. A few very cool items in here, so let's talk about them. You want a colored shirt, unlike that Cal Jam 50th anniversary? You got it. Volume 4 Henry colored sleeve tee. Very cool in my opinion. A little pricey at 55 bucks, but this is kind of cool. Something different, you know? You know, there's just a million designs out there. Why all these shirts have to be black, I don't know. All right, I know, Black Sabbath, but anyway, I like this one a lot. Pretty awesome. The skull logo and witch black tee, that one runs $30. Your standard Sabbath shirt there, in my opinion. Black polo shirt. Let's not leave out the golfers, right? No need for that one for me, but there it is. The Volume 4 and colored stripe design on a hoodie. Same price as the t-shirt, $55, but kind of cool. I think it's brown, the hoodie, so goes with that color pattern pretty well. Logo skull shorts, $50. They're okay. I'm not in love with that logo. It's kind of cool, but I don't know if I need $50 shorts, but still pretty awesome. If you're grabbing them, I'm not blaming you. Logo skull on a hat, $30. Look at this cool vodka bottle for $35. I kind of like that. And finally, the witch beanie, $25. Looks pretty cool. I like that one, actually. All right, all available at the band's official website. Free to enter, a chance to win a spring collection prize pack, guys. I already have. I think you're allowed 2 entries. Head on over to their merchandise store. Enter for free. You win this whole prize pack of stuff. And pretty cool. All right, guys, finally, let's get to the part 2 of mandatory bootlegs of Sabbath. You need them. I got them. Well, I got all but one, but I'll show you. This is going to cover 1980 to 1982. We already covered in part 1 in the last Sabbath update, Ozzy era, 69 to 78. So here you go. First one you absolutely need. Hartford 1980, specifically Definitive Hartford. Now this came out again, I think this edition is 2020 or something like that, 21 maybe. They put another version of this out in, I believe, 2023, somewhere thereabouts. Either way, you're going to be fine. Zodiac put this guy out. 2 CDs, main part being Hartford, Connecticut, August 10th, 1980. King Biscuit Flower Hour Show. Really good one. I don't love the sound on this. Actually, it almost sounds a little distant in some way, even though it's a soundboard show and all that. But nice full show, Ronnie James Dio era. And you still have Bill Ward on drums here, which is cool. The bonus stuff on here is awesome too. This Cozy Pal tape where you get Super Czar plus 5 songs. It just says US tour in August 1980. They don't have a specific date from Cozy's collection of tapes. That's awesome bonus material. That's the best sound in Sabbath from the Dio era of all the concert bootlegs that I have and have ever heard. That one is the best. It's a shame that show is not a full-on show. The sound quality on that's killer. So Hartford, August 10, 1980, your obvious first pick. Let's move along to Tokyo. This would be November 18th, Tokyo, Japan. I happen to have this in a triple pack called Demonization. And this one actually includes, from the same show, the soundboard version, FM broadcast version, and audience recording. And I prefer that mixing desk version. It's the fullest. It sounds pretty similar to the FM broadcast, but a little bit better. And also, the FM broadcast was 1 song short. It's missing War Pigs. So the fullest version is disc 1. They call it Mixing Desk Tokyo. And we're at Nakano Sun Plaza, November 18th. Some more Dio. Demonization, the way to get it. Although it's available out there separately. But the problem is you have to make sure you're buying the correct show. Because I've seen all 3 of these out there separately. You have to make sure it's your Mixing Desk version. If it includes Super Czar and War Pigs, that should be the right one. Although both of those songs are on the audience too. So you kind of got to look for soundboard version on that one. Buy carefully, buying that one if you're buying it separately. That Demonization, I think, is out of print. Could be had still, not really sure. Bringer of Evil, Definitive Edition. This one took me a while to find. I had to find it on eBay eventually. Has your full concert from Australia, November 27th. Week and a half after Tokyo. Live at the Capitol Theater. This might be my favorite show with Dio in there. And nice, good one. Real epic. Heaven and Hell. I know, aren't they all? This one really seems to take it over the top, though. And just a great one. There's cheesier versions of this on the gray market on Amazon. They're only 1 disc. You need 2 discs to get the whole show. So you're buying an edited version off Amazon, you know. So the gray market. Go for Bringer of Evil. Get your full, complete Sydney show. Or any 2-disc version should have the whole show on it. So there you go. Sydney, November 27th of 80. Mandatory show number 3. Shows 3 and 4, I have them, or 4 and 5, I have them both on the same disc. One called Diary of the Blizzard. Now, I just reported on this as a new release. Not a new release, but it was actually just a back in print. Zodiac titled Definitive Tribute has both of these shows. And let's break it down. Cleveland for Ozzy, and that would be May 11th, 1981. That show's on here in entirety. Disc 1. You also get some nice bonus radio announcements. I think somewhere in here you also have a radio ad for the concert or the tour. This is from a company called Scorpio UK. I think they might be out of business at this point. This was probably something I got about 8 years ago, 6-8 years ago. So it's a pretty cool little thing, man. Digipack, as you can see, but I was just so desperate to get both of these shows at once. You know, how cool is that? So you also get, just like you do on the Zodiac versions, both versions of the King Biscuit Flower Hour, the shorter original and the longer repeat version of the show from 82. So little look-see with that guy. So it's May 11th at Cleveland, Ohio for Ozzy, and then Quebec, Montreal, Quebec, July 28th of 81. Both of those shows are your number 4 and 5 mandatory show that you need. And like I said, that Definitive Tribute has all the same stuff. This one has some bonus Quiet Riot stuff. Original 7-inch record that has 3 songs on it, and the original 7-inch record of Slick Black Cadillac. Some cool bonus stuff on that one. Really is. All right. Mandatory show number 6 would be Sabbath. Hammersmith. There's a couple different versions. They had that limited edition. I think it was 5,000 copy version out there. We're talking from New Year's Eve of 81 to January 2nd of 82. I think this, I'm not 100% sure, I think this is what you got on that limited edition version. The Mob Rules bonus or deluxe version that was out a few years ago has, this might go back about 10 years now that I think about it, I think has the same show. So grab one of these, of course, and then we also had the newer version of Mob Rules that had something else. We'll get to that in a second. So now here's one I don't have. We just talked about it in the Bootleg new releases a little while ago. Bloomington, Minnesota from January 15th, 1982. Soundboard show. I still don't own any copies of that. So this vinyl is really kind of a welcome thing. I did listen to some of it on YouTube a few days ago. It sounds pretty awesome. Randy has that sort of phasery kind of sound going on with his guitar, which you can also hear on the next mandatory boot, Kalamazoo 1982. Better sound than show for sure, and a great one. Different guitar tone for Randy on this tour versus those earlier tours, and a cool one. Here's a Zodiac copy. This is still out there to be had. I think this is a second press of this. All your usual bootleg sites. Now, April 22nd, 1982, here's something from Sabbath that Sabbath gave us themselves. Awesome. More recent deluxe edition of Mob Rules from a year or two ago now, a couple years, I guess. The Portland show, and it is the complete show spread out over 2 discs. Not a big fan of this 2 songs on 1 disc and then the rest of the show on another, but you know, you get what you get, you don't get upset. I definitely am not upset about having a whole other show. So that's awesome. You need this one. If you already have that other Mob Rules Deluxe Edition, you need this one too. But you already know that because you're watching this far into this show, right? And then, let's see, 6 days later, Memphis, Tennessee for Ozzy. Definitive Memphis 1982. Super upgrade that came out a couple years ago. I'll drop a link. I did a review of this show. I'll drop a link for you on this one. And what a great one. This is official live album quality. It sounds awesome. Couldn't sound any better. Well, and I rarely say that about a bootleg. This one sounds fantastic. And a great show. Brad Gillis on guitar there shortly after losing Randy Rhoads. So, honorable mention. This one being something I actually just picked up, guys. I've owned a copy of it for years, downloaded off the internet. Just found it not too long ago, so here's another new pickup for me. Chelmsford Complete. We're on the Bondage Music label. Silver press CD. It is an audience show. So there you go. Getting a little into the audience stuff. Now, I actually used to have this on tape. I picked it up mid-90s at a trade show on cassette, and same exact show. I actually still have my version that I transferred over to CDR. But this one, what makes this one cool, and there's a bunch of versions of this Chelmsford show out there. Zodiac has one, etc. Look at these bonus tracks. No Bone Movies, demo, or basically an alternate mix, and same for Steal Away the Night. This is the only way to get these two versions of these songs. Now, do they sound drastically different? Not really, but I'm a completist when it comes to this stuff. If it's soundboard and it's Ozzy or Sabbath, early 80s Ozzy, I'm buying. So this was really cool to finally come across a nice physical copy of it. No Bone Movie sounds really pretty much the same. You get the count-ins by Lee Kerslake clicking the sticks, and then at the end of the song, it starts fading out. Got the girl sort of, moaning and groaning and stuff up in the mix. I don't even know if that was on the record at all. It's really kind of cool to hear that. And I like that song, by the way. I think that song's as good, if not better, than everything else on side 2, except for Mr. Crowley. But I know a lot of people don't like No Bone Movies. I've always been a fan. I like it better than Steal Away. I think I like it better than Revelation, too. But that's just me. And also at the end, you get a Suicide Solution, that rehearsal take that's out there. This is probably from... They're still forming the song. It's not even sort of fleshed out all the way yet. And that's a little bit of a rough ride audience or boombox recording kind of thing. But still cool to have it on a silver press CD. This was a great find. I think I had to pay $30, $32 for it. I don't care. Been looking for it for 10 years. So there it is. Bondage Music. Chelmsford Complete. Behind the CD. Like I said, an audience recording, but also I don't think I've mentioned the best quality audience recording from the tour. So there you are. Awesome. I'm really glad to have this thing. And I gave it a listen the other day, actually driving around. And it's not awesome. When people say it's an excellent audience recording, to me it's a very good audience recording. It's got its, Bob Daisley not heard real well. A little bit of a tinny sound with Ozzy's vocals. Sounds like a pretty small place they're playing, So where the hell are they playing? Chelmsford, UK. Chelmsford, Odeon. Okay, so there you go. There's your sort of honorable mention for the early 80s, 80 to 82 mandatory boots. What's nice about it, you do get a full, complete show of Randy here, and You Looking at Me's on here. No Bone Movies live too. So a whole complete show with no cuts. Actually, there is one cut, but it's no music lost. You hear one song end, and you hear like a tape pause, but Ozzy's still announcing the next song to come. So a little bit of that in between song stuff might be lost, but all the songs are complete. Chelmsford Complete added to the collection. I win. You win for lasting this whole time watching this show. Guys, man, that was a barn burner. Coming up on the next Sabbath update, of course, all your latest news. I'll show you my version of Bark at the Moon. It's killer. I use B-sides, demos, remove some nonsense, and make it a way better album. I'm really surprised how good it came out. Going to share that with you. We'll do 9 or 10 more mandatory bootlegs from the rest of 82 into 84. And while we're on the subject of the early 80s, let's figure out the Mount Rushmore of the early 80s. All right, between those 8 albums, between Ozzy and Sabbath, which one had the better album each of those years? Always thought about that. It's a tough call. Really is tough head-to-head competition there between those two bands, at least in my mind. So, and of course, we're going to review the Tony Martin box set. I've always wanted to put together, even though I've never heard most of those albums, always wanted to put together a sort of 12 songs, the best of the Martin era. So now I'll be able to maybe do that. That's probably going to have to wait a little bit till I digest the Tony Martin box set, as it's called, or as I call it, album collection. Guys, go enjoy yourself a nice E5 150 coffee, all right? And I'll catch you ass later. Have a great friggin' day.